Hello everyone, my name is TurboTony19 and I'm here with the man who was responsible for the Hindenburg disaster.
I like the fire.
You like
I
fire?
like fire.
Yes, it's Matt, and we haven't done LTW for a while. We've actually been quite busy recently on the lead up to the WrestleMania. I was in Manchester for a couple of days. Matt's been quite busy, but we haven't forgotten about you guys. We are still doing the show. It's just been hard to do it on a regular basis recently, but we will be doing it more and more. As time goes on, when we find the time to
get it as a
yeah, exactly,
running thing again.
exactly. So, in response to that, we're not going to do a Raw recap. We're going to do a WWE recap, and that's all we're going to be doing today on this show, just to catch up on what we've missed. And maybe next episode we might do another few other topics from there on out as well.
I'll try and remember where we finished off last time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but it's post Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, we didn't even do our predictions for Elimination Chamber. Yeah. So, we are missing quite a few things. There's quite a few topics to go into. There's no buttons on the top today, obviously, because we're not going through. And this video, I won't see it going on as long as the majority of our videos. So, just sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and listen to us, really. So, there's a few things that we're going to talk about. We'll go into literally what started off Raw, which was the return of Triple H and his fight with Brock Lesnar. What were your thoughts on that?
It's good. It's difficult because we spent ages going on. Oh, we don't want another Rock Cena. We don't want another Rock Cena. And I don't know about you, but I'm actually quite looking forward to another Triple H Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I would say I'm more excited for a Triple H Lesnar match than I am for a Rock Cena.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, it's like, I'm pretty sure WWE will right, don't make Brock bleed again. Yeah. But I did enjoy that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, there's blood, and it's not even like nowadays, oh, he's bleeding because he's got a tiny little cut, like Lesnar gushed.
Yeah, it was a big gash, and during that fight as well, you can see that he tried to clean himself off, and then the gash kept coming out as well.
Yeah, and one thing at the end of it, it was just like, don't even bother, it's gonna bleed.
Yeah, one of the things I did want to address with the whole Lesnar bleeding thing, I mean, it was. I mean, obviously, I hope that he's alright and everything like that, and I know he had stitches after the show, but a lot of people are saying that this is the beginning of the end of the PG era. No, they're not going to go back to bleeding. This was an accident, and
I think blood isn't exactly. If they were going to go back to the PG era, they'd give you if they were going to come out of the PG era, they wouldn't just go, oh, okay, we're coming out of it, blood.
Yeah,
give you like a PG, non-PG story.
Yeah.
I mean, sort of the racism thing, it's a little bit, probably a bit close to the border, but as they keep defending themselves, it's topical.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, and like I said, a lot of people were like, oh, this is great, they're going back to this style of hardcore sort of wrestling. Now, it was an accident. He basically just hit his head. I don't know whether he gashed it or something on it seemed to be the ring post that did it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, if it was, if he got attacked and then he got up and then he started bleeding because he would have bladed. That's just the way it's done in the wrestling industry. If you know backstage, that's the way that they do it. But obviously it wasn't. Just in the placement of where he was bleeding as well. Obviously just shows it wasn't. Normally when they do blading and stuff, it's the forehead or the top of the head. So yeah, no. I just want to address that because a few people were just going crazy like, oh, this is going to be going back to this time. No, it's not really. But it was good to see, and the fight and Triple H himself looks like he's in good shape.
I don't know about you, but I said this to Ben when we were watching it. Do you not think Triple H actually looks scarier now that he doesn't have the hair?
Yeah, it was the same.
When he came out, it was granted, as always, Triple H's return, Triple H comes back sort of hencher than ever, but he looks scary.
yeah, no, I agree, and it's something different. They did this whole angle with Undertaker last year where they did, he's cutting off his hair and he's going to a place he's never been before, and it works. So I mean, it's not. I definitely didn't mind the shaved hair look, and obviously he's been sporting that for a while, and I agree with that. I think it makes him look much more intense and everything like that, and. But yeah, I mean, leading up to it, I'm actually much more excited. Like I said, as you said there at the start, I'm much more excited to see them two duke it out rather than The Rock and Cena, which is, I don't know, I think it's more along the lines of as well as that we haven't seen a Lesnar Triple H match at a big event like WrestleMania.
Yeah,
Whereas
exactly. What was it? SummerSlam or
yeah,
something?
exactly. I mean, I know SummerSlam is a big event, but WrestleMania is a different batch of its own. The
So
reason why people
WrestleMania is, well, exactly
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I mean, the fact is, a lot of people are literally not too pumped up for the Cena Rock rematch because it literally is a rematch from last year's Mania. Where I think that Lesnar and Triple H isn't a rematch. It's a continuation of their rivalry. That's actually it actually goes together a lot better. I think it actually has a better storyline technically than the Rock and Cena rivalry. Going on from there. So we might as well actually go on to the Rock and Cena thing. Obviously. Cena won his match against CM Punk. We all thought that was going to happen. That it was pretty much set in stone that he was going to win anyways. This little mini rivalry with him and Punk is just a placeholder rivalry to eat up a few weeks before WrestleMania, before The Rock and him do their own little rivalry.
Yeah.
However, I did want to add though that their match was top notch. I thought it was very high quality. And I thought it was one of the very few matches. I mean, we've been extremely critical of Cena. A few episodes back, we went massive tirade on
Cena hate after Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But he did his own to make that match quite special, and I'll give him props for that. It was a decent enough match.
Versus Punk.
Against Punk, yeah.
Yes.
And he pulled a few moves out the bag that surprised. I know that you were quite surprised.
It was the power bomb. I was like, I don't think I've ever seen Cena give a power bomb other than his little spin out one. And then he just attempts a Hurricane Rana. I won't say he did one.
Yeah.
like we were saying before we even started recording, I've seen so many people posting up saying how Cena power bombed himself.
Yeah.
I was so confused. I was like, how the fuck do you? Oh, dick.
Yeah.
But it was a tense match. I will give it that. I mean, I say tense. Everyone knew Cena was going to win, but it was a real to and fro match.
Yeah, it was one that told a very good sort of story of two guys, gunning it out. And I like those matches that tell that sort of story and go the extra mile.
Yeah.
I mean that match that they had is actually a lot better than the majority of pay-per-view matches that they had. So with that being said,
I quite like it's going down as one of the two. Excuse me. One of the two big top matches of the year.
Yeah.
Obviously, Punk and Jericho.
Yeah.
And now Punk and Cena.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just. I mean, that's one of the comparisons that I've always drawn with Punk. That he's a lot like Bret Hart in the sense that when you look through the match of the year candidates for all the times that Bret Hart was in WWE and WCW. Even more so WWE for obvious reasons. They've got a lot of long lists of people, but Bret Hart is always that other guy that's in the match with those guys. He's the other guy making them look that good. And Punk is sort of taking their mantle. He's having consistently fantastic matches with different styles of wrestlers, and I think that tells something about his ability as a wrestler in the ring, and obviously as a personality outside of it as well to be able to sell that story. I mean, kudos to him, and you got to feel bad for Punk. I've heard that apparently he's going to go against Undertaker, and they're going to try and rush this sort of storyline with him going forward.
I mean, I could see it working. I mean, because prior to his match with Cena on Raw, it was the whole, I am immortal, I am a god at this and all that, and it's just like, no, there's only one person in the WWE who's immortal.
Yeah, and also with the thing about the whole him saying I'm God and everything else, the announcers repeated that over and over again as the show went on. And when they normally do that, something there's a bit of consistency beyond why he said that. I mean, if there were two people in the company that could probably whip up a very quick rivalry of a massive magnitude, it would probably be Undertaker and CM Punk. So seeing them two together, I'm not really worried about their rivalry, and I'm looking forward to a match if it does get set up. In terms of rivalries, and this might be controversial, the rise of Jack Swagger recently, and we didn't actually talk about him beforehand because he kind of came up, he went into the chamber, he won the chamber. I wish I'd done my predictions because I actually predicted that he would win. The reason being is because his rivalry with Del Rio, in my opinion, is actually better than any other rivalry that they've currently got set in for WrestleMania.
Well, it's a true rivalry, isn't it? It's not because you've essentially got Cena's just he wants to prove that he can get out of this losing funk that he spent a year in, and then that's about it. Really, this is the only storyline that's currently developing.
Yeah, with them, yeah. It's just...
But this is like a proper story in the sense that it's not even so much about the title. Well, it is, but it's the fact that it's like they're going on the whole racist thing of, you know, you've come here, taken the positions from hard-working Americans, and now it's like, oh.
Yeah.
So it's more of that rather than just the simple fact it's just like, I don't like you, I just want to fight.
And it's what I like about this storyline as well is that it's painting a picture of like you say, it sort of transcends the title a little bit, where it's against morals, and they're building it up as if Swagger wins, it becomes Swagger's America, and it kind of goes against all the, you know, the immigrants of America and all these lot. It kind of brings in a sort of thought around the rivalry that goes beyond wrestling, and therefore can draw people that possibly don't normally watch wrestling and bring them in to watch the product. And that's what these good storylines do. And I do like the fact that Zeb Coulter is extremely well rounded on the mic. And
Zeb Coulter's an amazing mic worker.
Yeah, he's almost on par with Paul Heyman in the sense of getting himself over as this really unlikable yet very strong moral guy, you know, that he's got this strong set of morals behind him, and he carries that forward, you know, to you know, into the storyline, you know, of his character and everything like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I mean, like, that's great, and obviously Jack Swagger, I mean, obviously as the wrestling counterpart of their little group. Yeah, I mean, don't mind Swagger coming in. He's obviously coming with some sort of intensity, and that's good because beforehand he came in and he used to do. I mean, thank God he changed that god awful entrance music. That was absolutely horrible.
I really like his new entrance music, actually.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's very good in the sense that, like, it kind of builds up the whole sort of American patriotism, and it goes well for his character, and it's sort of like, I actually feel quite excited when that music comes on. I know a lot of people wouldn't probably agree, but it's still better than that bloody on your knees music. I thought that was that was awful. That grated on me after a while. So yeah, it's great to see him come back with the black gear, and obviously he's getting a lot more vocal. He's definitely into the character, I'd say. Which is obviously quite good, and I'm excited to see them fight. I mean, I know obviously Del Rio is going to win. They're not going to let a guy who hates immigrants beat the immigrant for the title. You know, that's completely against the whole
go down too well.
Yeah, that wouldn't go down too well at all. But yeah, it's a good rivalry. I'm looking forward to the match, and I'm looking forward to the outside interferences and the fact that Rodriguez and Coulter might get involved at WrestleMania, and it's going to build up to this crescendo of it means more than just a match, and that's where all the great wrestling matches come from. So yeah, I'm looking forward to them, and like I said, it might be, some people may not agree with me, and that's fine. But in my opinion, I think it's the best, well-rounded, actual rivalry and storyline leading into the main events of WrestleMania. I mean, maybe if Triple H and Lesnar had been around, they could have painted this more personal storyline between them, and I'm sure they'll actually build up quite a good storyline between the pair of them as well. Rock and Cena, as we've said, not so much because, you know, they're probably going to do a rerun of last year. I mean, would you agree with me in that sense that the in terms of storyline that they've nailed the Del Rio and Swagger storyline?
I'd say so. I can't really think of anything else that the storyline's missing.
Yeah.
Well, I say missing, but you sort of know what I mean. In the sense that sort of everything it has everything. It's got like a personal reason for the vendetta on both sides of things, because now it literally is just coming down to, you're not an American, you shouldn't hold it, and then it's like, well, I thought this was the land of the free and the land of opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how it's looking, and it's good. It's just it is. There's nothing really missing, and I think the pair of them would have. You got two people who favour submissions as well.
Yeah.
Which is going to get quite interesting, and they're both quite simple submissions to lock in.
Yeah.
And
so it's quite easy to have that match, isn't it? That back and forth
so I reckon the match is going to be really impressive.
Yeah, if those two bring it on the night, and with the storyline that surrounds it, that would be a very entertaining match. And
Definitely.
the way they've brought it around, and the good thing about it as well is that, unlike the other two rivalries that we've been talking about, that rivalry has actually sort of been planned weeks in advance. That storyline has been planned since Swagger came back, so it has that longevity and it has that background of his character, and it meshes in with Del Rio. So So yeah, that's fantastic. I think they've done very, very well with that, and it's also something that we would have seen. We have obviously seen these sort of storylines before. We had the old Sergeant Slaughter and all these things going on before, but it's something that we haven't seen recently, and not for quite a few
well, someone
years.
posted up a picture, and it's actually a good reminder. Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you still think that's a fair while ago, for a lot of nowadays fans, that's nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot of people would even remember that.
Well, Kurt Angle's a TNA guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
So you know, I'm trying to think now. Kurt Angle versus Eddie. We're talking.
Oh, that was WrestleMania 21. No, I think it was 22 that they. No, it was 20 that they went against each other. WrestleMania 20.
Yeah.
Because if you remember,
a good 9 years ago.
Yeah, if you remember, that was the match where he got the ankle lock on him, but Eddie Guerrero took the laces off his boot, so he did the ankle lock, took his boot off, and then Guerrero came up and
Guerrero hit. Yeah.
Win. So yeah, that was quite cool. But yeah, like I said, that story hasn't been done for a while. It's fresh because of that, and it's good. I'm enjoying it, and it's something that is going to be exciting to go forward and see what they'll do and build up this storyline, this rivalry. I don't think they should get their hands on each other until before the match, and that way you build up this sort of epic thing. It's not the sort of thing where it's a mashup of beliefs and morals rather than the Lesnar Triple H. We're so angry with each other, we're going to fight each other every day of the week, and it's a different rivalry than from that, and that way you have to book it differently. But they're still both good in their own right.
Well, I sort of wonder. It literally. I mean, granted, the pair of them have. They could have such a bitter rivalry, but I think it's just generally don't fuck with my stepdad sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of.
Not stepdad, my father-in-law.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But yeah, no, it's just like I said, I'm looking forward to that going forward, and as a main event, I know it's the lesser of the main events, obviously, because considering you're not going to be able to trump up Cena and Rock, and definitely not Lesnar and Triple H. But I think they're in safe hands, especially if they get enough time and they pull off. They're probably going to do the opening match at Mania, and if they do a good match, then they could do it service purpose, and it will look well for the pair of them.
You reckon? You reckon Triple H and Lesnar would open?
No. I'm saying that the Swagger and Del Rio will probably open the show. They tend to have done that. They've done the World Heavyweight title.
Well, literally the World Heavyweight seems to just be stuck as an opening title now.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, they've pulled off some good matches as a result recently, but
So
hopefully it won't be another WrestleMania World Heavyweight Championship match like last year.
Yeah, like 18 seconds. That was ridiculous.
What?
Yeah. Especially as well. The reason why they left a bit of taste in the mouth is that you knew those two guys could go and put on a really good match, and I think that was what was really upsetting, the fact that Daniel Bryan and Sheamus didn't really get a chance to showcase. It was a gimmick match, and it ended so quickly. But
I mean, it was a good way to get the AJ storyline rolling. But
I mean, I think one of the things about last year's Mania is that they had that, but then they had about 25 minutes of Brodus Clay dancing with a group of grandmas. Now, they could have easily have taken up, even if they want to do 10 minutes of grandma dancing or whatever, mama dancing, because they're calling their mamas, and then put 15 minutes to a Daniel Bryan Sheamus match, it would have been fantastic. They could have done something really well in 15 minutes. So, 15 minutes and 18 seconds, of course. We might as well go into some other rivalries that have been building up. One of them that I noticed more on Raw that they're going into was Sheamus and Wade Barrett.
Yep. But that seems to be. I think that seems to be just. It looks like it's going to be a thrown together rivalry.
Yeah.
Because it's when 2 weeks ago, Wade Barrett was more interested in Bo Dallas.
Yeah.
And now it's just I'm a movie fan, and look at Wade Barrett, who's not in it at all. The trailer. There he is.
Yeah. It was a little bit like a thrown together one. But if they're going to throw together a rivalry, I'd much rather them do it now when they've still got quite a few weeks before Mania. And
but
they can make
on the UK scene, those two put together some amazing matches.
That's it. That's why when I saw them and I knew that they were going to be building towards this rivalry, and they're not going to do a mini rivalry and stop at WrestleMania. It's probably going to be one of the filler matches of Mania.
Yeah, it does make me wonder. It's what happened to Bo Dallas? It's we lost interest in the NXT guy.
Yeah, well, coming up to WrestleMania, because he's not that much well made of a star. I mean, obviously his first WWE event was Royal Rumble, and obviously what happened there. It did seem a bit odd that they started that storyline so close to Mania, and I kind of knew he would get pushed to the back burner.
Yeah.
But at least people know his name now, which is
Oh
something
yeah.
when he comes up maybe sometime next year, or if he stays in developmental a bit long, people are going to be wondering what happened to that guy. And it's kind of good that he came in for that little while and had that shock victory. When he comes in, it could be like, this is the guy who beat Wade Barrett, oh, he's come back up, and yeah, it'll be good for him. And I don't think it's
Yeah.
like the end of his chance or end of his mini push, if you could call it that. But yeah, as Mania came up, you're not going to have Barrett versus Bo Dallas at WrestleMania. It's just not
No.
going to happen. So you need another big established star to go against him, and obviously you've got that English, Irish. There seems to be a lot of meshing of these different nationalities in these matches and stuff that I kind of
Yeah.
saw, which is good. I mean, I actually had one of these sort of multinational matches at WrestleMania 10. It wasn't a great match, but Bret Hart won the title, so that was always good. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I mean, it didn't start off. I don't think they should make it more about the movie. I know when they want to plug the movie that much, but if they make it more about the title, obviously they're going to go against each other for the title, then it could work, and it's not going to be a huge main event match, but
Oh yeah.
I'll accept it as a winner match for Mania anyway. But I mean, is there any other real talking points from Raw that you want to talk about at all? I might have missed a few.
We've done the bleeding and that, and I don't, not really. I mean, there's one rivalry that I'm actually quite liking at the moment, is the fact that it really is developing, and that's Cesaro Miz.
Okay, yeah.
Like, just if you think for how long that's been going now.
Yeah, but again, I think that rivalry hasn't been helped by the fact that they want to push other rivalries while them two are having a rivalry. So like,
Yeah.
while they were doing that, Miz was doing job service for Swagger, and then Cesaro was doing that for Orton. It was just like they're doing different matches. While not still kind of doing it, they keep having these weeks where they're against each other, and then have a week where they don't even interact with each other. And I think that kind of hurts it. But when they start nailing it down, I hope they've got the time now that you hope that they bring up a guy with the agenda of, I'm American, I'm going to bring back the US title. But I think that they might not do that, considering how close that might go towards the real American storyline that they're having for the World Heavyweight Championship. So yeah, it's a little bit along those lines, and you hope that these wrestlers just don't have a plan set for them for Mania, and they're just going to be like, Cesaro can be part of a 10-man tag match that happens on the day of the event, or he's on a pre-show or something, because you want these rising stars to take some part in WrestleMania. And we haven't talked about the Shield actually as well, which is,
That's true, yeah.
We're wondering really
and the fact
what
that they've recently had their own they've actually had proper matches on Raw, and won.
Yeah, they won. Yeah, I mean,
Both of them.
they keep winning matches. That's one of the things I wanted to point back as well. The internet wrestling community were a little bit going on like, oh, they pinned Ryback. Thank God, the Shield are staying strong. And I don't understand a lot of people's. I know you and me are very defensive of Ryback as a character, but I don't understand a lot of the hate on him, because he hasn't won a pay-per-view match in God knows, and it's sort of like the reason. I think the only reason why he's still there and is still about, so he wasn't even on Raw, he didn't even have a match on Raw. That around is that the fans still buy into him, but the fact is as well, they're all like, oh, thank God Ryback got pinned. Why couldn't Cena got pinned? And obviously, I know the reasons for that now. I mean, it's actually legitimately now the reason why I know I wouldn't have made Cena get pinned in their match, because he's building up to this big match against The Rock. You don't want to make it seem as if he's beatable, because you're trying to build him up to this epic match. I get that, but it's one of those things that you could have had Sheamus get pinned, but they chose Ryback to get the pin. They keep choosing Ryback to take the fall, and it's a little bit worrying that they might end up screwing up one of their big rising stars, with the way that they're going about it. Now, whether they're going to go and they're going to have the Shield face at WrestleMania. I don't know what they're going to do with the Shield, because they're not really building to any sort of agenda with WrestleMania in mind. But I hope that they they pick up Ryback again, because they can't keep doing this to his character. He eventually will have to reach the top of the mountain and start winning these matches to establish himself, because he's still only a new wrestler, but the fans are buying into him. He's a product you can sell, and they just don't seem to want to at the moment. So, I mean, what's your thoughts about that? I mean, do you think that maybe they're not doing right by Ryback? Do you think they're making a mistake, or do you think?
I think they're pushing a time where they have to be careful before they sort of, in a sense, not so much smother him. He's pulling off good matches.
Yeah.
And he's pulling off good matches. He's getting consistent matches. He's still winning as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, when it comes to the end of a major storyline, then he'll lose.
Yeah.
But I still think that he'll be. I reckon Ryback will still be involved in the ending of the Shield.
Yeah, it would be
because
a bit criminal
he's been their
if he wasn't.
longest running rival.
Yeah, he was the first person they attacked, so
Exactly.
it'd be very criminal if he didn't have at least some sort of involvement in that match. I'm sure he will.
But I don't think that. It's just they have to be careful. Just the simple fact that now everything else is overtaking him.
Yeah,
and now he's sort of slipped to sort of like mid card, main card meathead.
Yeah, and especially with the Shield storyline, like I said, he was the first person they attacked. But as soon as Cena came in, it was all about the John Cena problem and all this lot. And
I agree, there was the John Cena problem.
Yeah, but in terms of Ryback, it wasn't about him anymore, and that hurts his rise. And the fact is that he wasn't even involved with the attack on the Shield this week, which is a little bit worrying. He wasn't even on Raw, which is a little bit worrying that he wasn't put on. No, he wasn't on there at all. All it was Sheamus and Orton.
Yeah, that's true.
So it was a little bit worrying about that. I'm sure he had a match. I'm sure he had a match on Raw. I'm not sure. It's 3 hours. I end up missing some parts of it in my head. But one of the things to look out for, though, in the future, though, I know for some reason they were billing up that Lawler was going to be commentating SmackDown, so that might be worth watching, because he hasn't. I don't even know. I know he said on Raw that he watches SmackDown, but I doubt it. So that should be interesting to see. And then there's a few other talking points like Brad Maddox and Vicky Guerrero.
The Bricky.
Yeah, the Bricky, which was going along like that. I don't know where they're going with that. Obviously, they've got some sort of plan to build up, and it's just getting Brad Maddox on screen. But yeah, I mean, these are all the little things that really that we're waiting to become bigger storylines. And like I said, when WrestleMania season comes around, if you're a wrestling fan, you already know this, but all the storylines change. They go mad for a little while until a couple of weeks before the show, where everything gets locked in and they start going from there, and then everything goes on. But like, for instance, last year, I mean, we've referenced this before in previous episodes, but last year they had two rivalries that completely switched people. So that's just the way that it goes. So they had that's the way that WrestleMania goes. They get their rivalries that they want to get down, they make storylines to get them down, and then they push forward. But all in all, I think WrestleMania. I'm not excited at all for the Cena Rock match. We explained why in a previous episode. But for the other two main event matches, yeah, I'm actually quite excited for them. I'm looking forward to seeing those matches develop. And as an overall show, do you think that maybe this is actually a healthier show than what it was last year?
What does it currently looks as what WrestleMania is?
Yeah, what it looks to be building up, taking into account the Cena and Undertaker match as well, the CM Punk Undertaker match that is apparently going to go ahead. Well,
it's apparently all set in stone now. It just needs to be all sort of properly announced. Yeah. It's looking good.
Yeah.
But then, to be perfectly honest, we only have the major stories. But then that's still 4 matches essentially, if you think about it.
Yeah.
So they're only going to chuck in sort of two or three others.
Yeah, I mean they'll probably have, like I said, they'll have a few filler rivalries that are filler matches that they'll have in between. The fact that
we'll probably get Caitlyn versus Roxana or some shit.
Yeah, we'll probably have Caitlyn against someone, or they'll have a over the top divas battle royal just to fill in.
Do you know, I saw a meme the other day. It was quite good. You remember the bit where it was a few months ago where Caitlyn was trying to help AJ and AJ just laughed in her face?
Yeah.
It was a meme, and it was just like, you're rarely on Raw and I'm on, but I'm on every week. So who's more important, me or the title? I was like, ooh, fair point.
Yeah.
It's just nobody gives a shit about the Divas
Yeah,
title, but he gives a
exactly.
shit about the Divas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't hold any prestige. I was actually going back into that. I know we're kind of sidetracking, but we got plenty of time now anyway. If you came in just to watch wrestling, the WWE recap, that's pretty much going to end now. We're just going to talk about random crap. So you can turn off the video if you like. But yeah,
Not even talking about Elimination Chamber.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But with the Divas Championship, this is something that we talked about before. When they got rid of the women's title, the actual women's title belt, that actually had a lot of prestige behind it. And you look back at all the women's champions that they had before. They had Fabulous Moolah, they had Mae Young, they had Trish Stratus, Lita, all these fantastic female wrestlers that came into the company. And then you brought in this Divas title and you got rid of that. It's a little bit like, why would you do that sort of thing? Like,
Yeah.
the whole sort of grandeur around the WWE title is its prestige, and it goes back to the days of Bruno Sammartino, and Bob Backlund, and Bret Hart, Stone Cold, all these names that come with the title. And it seems a bit boggling that they would just get rid of it and bring this title that has no prestige and replace it with that. So yeah, I mean, I don't know why they did that and why they made the choice. They might eventually go back to it, but you and me have said this for a while, that they just don't care about the Divas division. They haven't for a while, and they won't, especially now leading into WrestleMania season. So that's one thing. Here is one thing actually. Yeah, I just tailed off at the end there, guys. Me and Matt just ended up talking about random nonsense. So we'll continue there next week. That was our WWE recap. If you enjoyed the video, please leave it a like and subscribe for more Let's Talk Wrestling. And yeah, leave a comment if you disagreed or you agreed with any of the statements that we made there today. And again, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next week. He's one of the best, I think, in shape wrestlers that have ever been in the ring.
Yeah.
So yeah, fantastic match from him. And I think, though, I mean, I'm going to be a little bit more critical of Raw. I think that in